Welcome to ChattyCoffeeCrew. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Oh yeah, whoa girl, oh girl, get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, bear with us as we internets. We know what you're saying. Don't. But the thing about it is, we do. Now, you might not want us to, but, there's a thing called, apprentice, doing the show. Get out the way. Jeez Louise. There's a thing called appointments, right? You might be saying to yourself, we know what an appointment is, but it's when we think we know what an appointment is that we fail to realize that we haven't yet discussed or discovered what an appointment truly is or what it could be. You might be saying, well, this just sounds like ridiculousness with which you're trying to get an entire episode out of to elicit views and inevitably get YouTube's money. And we would be saying, well, I guess we have an appointment with destiny because you hit the nail right on the head. Good thing you already know that, and we can continue the show without having to outline all of those outlying factors and parameters. But welcome to ChattyCoffeeCrew. Welcome one, welcome all. We have got a fantastic show for you today. And of course, by fantastic, we mean free. So remember, you get what you pay for. Now, today we're talking appointments. And you might be saying, did I have an appointment to watch this stream? Did something pop up and, automatically get me here? No. That was a misclick. And they happen all the time. But now, inherently, you have an appointment with destiny. The destiny of the FBI showing up at your door, wondering what content you're watching. Because, believe you me, you stumble across this, and your algorithms are inevitably gonna lead to a visit from a little thing called agents, right? And you might be saying, well, if that's an appointment that I must take, that's an appointment I must take, right? And you see, that's where you're wrong. You don't have to say anything about us. You don't even have to watch us. You could mute this and go to work. Mute this and go to sleep. We get the view. You don't have to suffer through it. Bada boom, bada bing. But we win. Excellent. Well, anyhow, appointments come in all shapes and forms. Let's see all of this craziness. Hi, a shout out. Well, hello, Aaliyah or Leia, depending on how we pronounce it. Brain stew. Well, there's no brain stew here. We don't listen to Green Day that often nowadays, but for some reason we don't even know if that's the name of it. Is that on the album with Geek Stink Breath? I don't know. It's either Dookie or one of those. We don't really listen to Green Day so much anymore. You are so sweet. Well, of course we are, Kaylee. That's because when you're what you call a celebrity, and we are. Okay, you might be saying, what? Since when? Well, since we called dibs on it, Daryl Dixon style from The Walking Dead. Okay? There's a thing called the worst, and we called dibs on being it. So, now, we are the best of the worst. Now, you might be saying, that's not really a celebrity, but, Kaylee, we are on the internet, so, yes, we are. Now, we do understand there's differences in a celebrity, right? Or when you're in the industry like we are, celebs. Okay, that's what we call ourselves, amongst ourselves. There's a difference, and we know our place. There's good celebrities, okay? They're up here. They're the ones who you like to watch, okay? And then there's the not-so-good ones. And then there's us, on the ground floor level, because we call dibs, okay? Daryl Dixon style from The Walking Dead. You ever see that, Kaylee? Can we call you Kaylee? Of course we can. All right, K-Money, so here's the thing. The Walking Dead, been out for a long, long time. Daryl Dixon taught us how to call dibs. So, we call dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrities. Everything else that you watch is guaranteed to be better. okay? We know our place. It's on the bottom of the pile. Has been for some time. But, K-Money, we can call you K-Money, right? All right, Kaylee, here's the thing. We're supposed to be talking about appointments, not really, focusing in on your comment, okay? So that's our bad for letting you hijack the show. So we apologize to all ones of our main fan. Hi, Mom. And we got to get on with it, okay? So let's see what else we're missing. True. JC in the house! Now, if there's one thing we stopped this show for, it's a Big JC. And, of course, Big JC, we're going to tell you this later, but there's that little thing called Vanish. You know what we're talking about. And, man, it has become virtually an almost everyday versus whatever. But that's a whole nother topic of conversation, and we got to have that sometime because we've had a couple conversations about it. But lo and behold, our appointment with Destiny today is our appointment talking about appointments, and that's what the episode's about. So, Kaylee, we like you too, but me and the Big JC go way back. Okay, so he gets priority. Sorry about that. But K-Money, for real, you're right there. We're gonna lift you up on that platform and pedestal right next to us, okay? But if there's one thing we know, it's that JC doesn't like to share us. So you're gonna have to work it out with him. Anyhow, let's see what else we go. Shout out Irish. Okay. Irish, shout at you. Excellent. Hi and hello, and are you an actor? Well, are we an actor? Well, Couch. Here's the thing. Couch. We can call you Couch. All right. Tomato Dog. All right, Tomato Dog, here's the thing. Are we an actor? No. We are not an actor. Couch Tomato, we are an entertainer. Okay? And you might be saying, well, when does that start? Okay? I haven't seen anything entertaining yet. We get it. Okay? We totally get it. It doesn't start. Man, if we're being honest, you're probably not going to, find anything entertaining about it. But you see, Tomato, that's where we kind of reside. Okay? We know our place. It's on the bottom. Anything else you watch is guaranteed to be better. So it's almost like a starting point of not only your day, in the morning, ChattyCoffeeCrew, whenever, we hang out and have our thing. Now, you don't need to have a cup of coffee in order to participate. It's not a prerequisite or a precursor for admission. The price of admission is free, and it's also, the price of admission is however long you can tolerate being here, okay? But the thing is, Tomato, okay, there's aspects of, the show that fall into the realm of a lot of leeway in what we do here, right? Whereas other shows might revolve around structure or facts, things of that nature. It's a little harder for channels like this, which are more of a subsistence living, okay, on the net, because we aren't privy to having those, how do you call them, that most businesses use and, those bigger streamers have. Budgets. There is no budget here, so therefore, we don't have fact of the checkers like the Joe of the Rogan and Tim of the Pools. Now, with that being the case, just leads to a lot more kind of conjecture on our end and blanketed, we don't know if it's true, okay? Now, you might be saying, Couch Tomato, that's our fault. Hire someone, right? Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Tomato. We're not going to, because it sounds like work, and also sounds like it would cost us money. There's something we don't got, Tomato. It's money to spend on hiring someone to make sure that we're doing our job properly. So, that's the government's job. That's why we have the IRS, to make sure we're paying them appropriately. That's why we have the Fish and Game Wildlife Commission, to make sure we are utilizing acquiring food for, living purposes appropriately, and that we have paid for the privilege to live. Obviously. You think that this country's free? Well, that's beside the point, Tomato. We get ahead of ourselves. We got a public service announcement that's come in. Let's stop the tape. It is from JC. Public service announcement. Stop. Excellent. What the fuck am I watching? It doesn't matter what you're watching. There's a public service announcement. If it's from Joey. It's a no-y. That's hands down. Thank you, Big JC. You know, if there's one aspect of Chatty Coffee Crew that has always been at the forefronts of our minds, hearts, souls, spirits, and bodies here, it's a matter of public safety, both in person and online, on the intra-zones, okay? And when you start dabbling in the realm of how Joey can indirectly affect any aspect of your life, in person, online, on the dark web, stay off the dark web. Stay away from Joey. There is no greater public service announcement that you should ever have an appointment to keep up with than that of if it's from Joey, it's a no-y. You ever hear of a thing called roofies? Well, those are something else entirely compared to Joey. And believe you me, you get anywhere around any aspect, iota, or iteration of Joey, his milk, or any component of it, you best not gulp. And if there's one thing that we can't stress enough, it's don't gulp. And if it's from Joey, it's a no-y. Thank you, JC. Excellent. So, back to appointments. You make them for all sorts of things. Say you have an oil change you need on a vehicle and you're too lazy to go to Jiffy Lube, so you schedule it at a more reputable place. Now, we're not saying Jiffy Lube isn't reputable. Just kidding, Jiffy Lube. You know, we don't have a sponsor, Jiffy Lube. You could be the best oil change place out there. We could even let all ones of our biggest fan know it. But, you know, there's something you didn't do, Jiffy Lube. That's pay us money. So, anyhow, if you don't feel like going to Jiffy Lube, you can schedule an appointment at anywhere else that you would probably need an appointment to go. Because, let's be honest, Jiffy Lube takes anybody. They're kind of like this show, right? You know, you show up, and it's like, well, we're not going to turn you away. You might not get your oil cap plugged back in. Hell, you might not get your gas cap put back on or your oil cap put back on. You might only be able to make it, 30 to 50 miles down the road before your engine starts smoking and smelling like shit. But if there's one thing that they're good at, it's asking you to come back up to the fucking store to fix that shit. Well, you know what, Jiffy Lube? I would love to drive another 100 fucking miles to come back to your store for this smoking piece of shit that stinks like Joey's ass, for you to fix the problem. But, that's beside the point. You can have an appointment for things like dentists, doctors, automotive repair work for when, say, Jiffy Lubes forgets to put a fucking oil cap back on your engine and it sprays oil all over the place like Joey had his way with a gallon of milk. Don't gulp. But the point is that appointments serve all sorts of purposes in your lives. They act as a form of keeping up with events or adding an amount of structure to your day-to-day actions. Now, you might be saying, do your day-to-day actions have to avoid Joey at all costs? And believe you me, if you aren't structuring your day to do so, well, you're going to have a bad day. Probably. Maybe. If it's anything to do with Joey, you will. But that's subjective. Okay? Is it conjecture on our part? In one iota way, shape, or form? Sure. Will you inherently go blind and lose a limb if you reach out and extend that olive branch to Joey. Now, we're not going to tell you what happened to Bob, but Bob, can we share your story? Oh, you'll let us? High five, Bob. All right, well, Bob, you know, he's been helping us on the studio here, right? And he got a little thing called a text message, right? Not a big deal. Everyone gets text messages, right? Well, Bob didn't really know that this text message came from a spam place, right? You might be saying, there's no way this is true. This is all just made up shit. You're just padding out an episode about appointments and loosely talking about stuff. Sure. Okay, that might all be true, but that doesn't negate the fact that we're in the middle of trying to tell you something, regardless of where it lies in the realm of fiction and nonfiction. All right, you're getting ahead of yourself. It's the message that's important, not the story that you take to get there. Unless the story that you take to get there is more important than the message. There's different aspects and components that you have to account and need to account for. And while Bob doesn't mind lending a hand, in this case, he reached that olive branch too far off. He made contact with Joey. Bad move, Bob. You touched Joey. It's a no-y. We had to sever it at the limb. High five, Bob. We saved that infection. You ever see Walking Dead? You know, you get bit. You touch Joey, it's the same damn thing. You better lob that bitch off. Not really. Don't really do that, okay? You consult a doctor or physician before making any body modifications or anything like that. Full disclaimer, this is for complete entertainment. Used loosely, value, and harbors no actual desire for anyone to chop off an extremity because they may or may not have had contact with Joey. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what? If I have contact with Joey, I absolutely am going to lob off an extremity. But, again, that's a personal choice, and we can't condone nor encourage one to do such, okay? Everyone has to make their own decisions based on their own circumstances and life events. So, with that being the case, we proceed. Let's see what we've missed. Never accept a free oil change from Joey. Say no. And run away. Well, absolutely. Not only should you run away, you should run away very fast. Because if there's one thing Joey does, it's try to sneak a peek at your rear when your feet are in gear and you're hauling ass away. Because believe you me, Joey don't want you to. Joey might start tagging along. He might start jogging behind you. Well, you know what? You better do a 360 full, be aware of your surroundings at all times. Because you never know when Joey's gonna strike. That's why we live by the mantra. And thank you, JC, for, pointing it out. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. It's an easy saying, it's an easy slogan to abide by. Now, we're not saying you have to abide by, make your own choices. You want to end up with a couple venereal diseases and things of that nature down the road, and you don't even know how you got them because you were in no way, shape, or form in contact with a venereal way to get them. Well, maybe you listen to Joey talk for 30 seconds to a minute, okay? Disgusting! You better wash your ears out with soap and bleach your eyes. Don't really do either of those. Again, you need to take care of your hygienic needs based on your own parameters of doing such and by consulting your healthcare providers and things of that nature. We provide no pointing you in the direction of how to decontaminate yourself from the grotesque, just complete, sheer degeneracy that is Joey. So, anyhow, where were we on appointments? We have an appointment with Destiny. You might be saying, what appointment's that? Well, Destiny is a stripper. And you have to make appointments. They get booked up really far in advance. And if you got a bachelor party or something like that, why are we telling you this? Don't worry about our appointment with Destiny. You need to be worried about protecting yourselves, and you also need to be worried we're going to have to cut this short pretty quick. We got this much coffee left, which usually lasts a good while, but unfortunately, we got appointments and shit to do today. So by all means, leave whenever you want. We hate closing the door on your feet and your fingertips, turning the lights out on you, having you bump and bang into our shit. It falls over, it breaks. Hold on. Getting a call from management. We didn't even call. What do you want? We're on time. We're doing the show. What do you mean stop telling people to leave and go, well, we're going to end it soon? Huh. Why would they want us to leave before them? That's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, they should. We're going to end the stream sometime, and then they're going to be like, well, fucking, I guess that's over. Well, it doesn't matter if we don't get their view. Oh, we want the views. So YouTube pays us, and you pay us. Okay. Well, thanks, management. Fucking management. Thinks they know how to run the place, right? And I don't know how it is where you work or reside, but it's like they feel they're in charge, in control, like they make the decisions that matter. But sometimes their decisions aren't in our best interest. Therefore, they're wrong. Speaking of which, we do have our new fancy communicator devices that we have obtained here, and you might be saying, what, no budget at this show? There's a difference between a budget for the show and a budget for Star Trek merchandise and paraphernalia, and old communicator systems that are obsolete and they no longer need. It's great tech for us. Watch this, we get management to call the booth whenever we want now. Hey, tell management to call the booth. See? It's our communicator pin. Give it a sec. There it is. Hey, we're still going to end the show. All right. Well, whatever. Excellent. We just have to make sure that our contractual obligations are met. Nothing like getting docked and having to do another episode because this one wasn't good enough. You might be saying, well, it wasn't. Well, that's the thing about good enough. It doesn't necessarily have to resonate well with the audience that views it. It doesn't have to perform well as far as numbers, but our contract states it needs to be X amount of time. And believe you me, if there's one thing management likes doing, it's checking time cards, making sure you were on the property when you were clocked in. Bob can't clock you in. Hey, thanks again, Bob. That was good looking out that day. Fuck. Anyhow, the point is that no matter what appointments you have in life, where appointments you go from here next, maybe you have a awesome appointment lined up. Maybe you're getting a new tat of the two. That usually takes an appointment unless you're doing a walk-in flash art off the shelf because you're on spring break and you're like, well, fuck it, I want something 100,000 other people have because we're all brothers and sisters in the eyes of avoiding Joey. Of course, so hell, we'd get a tattoo all the rest of you have just to make sure you weren't Joey in disguise. Believe you me, if there's a tattoo from Joey, you better not get it. And you better get something else that distinguishes you from him at all costs. But that's beside the point, except for the point of look out for your own safety and well-being, and that of the internet, and that is our job here. And we would like to say that we delivered that with the big help of the big JC. Much love. Anyhow, of course, don't forget we have one shirt on sale for $13,000, so tell everyone you know who's rich that they should buy it, and it's not worth it, and that they shouldn't buy it. But, believe you me, it was on clearance for $1, and we made it awesome by putting, it's backwards, you can't see it, we know that, obviously, the warning about Joey on it. Don't gulp, and Joey's milk. You probably can't see it well. That's okay. Now, $13,000 is a lot of money, you might say, and totally not worth it for a shirt that was originally $1. But that's the thing. Originally, it wasn't $1. It was $15.98. It was on clearance for $1. So, $13,000 isn't that far off from the asking price, is it? Of course not. Well, that's it. If anyone has an idea for the next show and you feel like throwing it in, we will wait around for approximately a couple until we feel like leaving. Put it in the chat of the box, and we will do the next episode on that. Let's see it. Let's see what it is. Hybro. Well, we can't do an episode on Hybro, but hello to you. We're looking for ideas for the next episode. so we don't have to come up with them ourselves. And then we're pulling the plug on this and getting the fuck out of here. So, either leave now or fill GTA 6. Hell, JC, you got it. Next episode is on GTA 6. Quick on the trigger, quick on the draw. Telling us be careful about Joey, y'all. It's the big JC coming through for safety and all. The Coffee Chat Crew. Well, we hope you've had a great time. We know you probably haven't. That's okay. It was free. So, you get what you pay for. Anyhow, go on, get out of here. We're about to shut off the lights and lock the door. And believe you me, we know you're going to try and pocket shit on the way out. So, to circumvent and prevent that, you may touch the best worst celebrity through the internet right now. Excellent. Get your fill. Okay. That's enough. You know, we don't know where a lot of you sick bastards have been, and we don't know if you knew about the detrimental outcomes that could surround being involved in any iota, way, shape, or form with Joey. But if there's one thing we do know, it's we got to protect ourselves afterwards. So we have to go bathe in bleach, which we don't recommend anyone else do. Consult your physicians and healthcare providers for. Now you do whatever you do. Until then, yeah, that's the end of the show. So feel free to leave, because we're just going to stop it. Any second now, the show is over. Believe you me, there is no more show. It is completely done. Joey could be coming up behind you if you are still here, and you're like, no way, there's more show. There's no more show. Look out behind you. Joey's probably trying to come and do one of his pouncy pounds, okay? And believe you me, with there being no show here, you better be aware of your surroundings, okay? Now, we got a wall behind us. Why do you think we've been upgrading the studio? Is it to do better shows, to do more shows, more frequent shows? No, it's to keep Joey the hell out. You know, we needed extra security on this place. We almost had to hire a security guard. We couldn't afford that, so we did better and got a security camera. You know, there's ways to get around stuff, whether you have an appointment with a security company and they're like, oh, there's no way we can keep Joey out of this shit. It's way too structurally unsound. You know, you tell that security apparatus, well, you guys were too expensive anyway. Go make someone else's life safer. Thanks. They're like, well, sir, come back to us when you have 1 million subscribers. Okay, see you in a couple decades. Hope you're still in business, assholes. You know what I mean? We'll hit that number in a couple decades, and joke's on them. They won't even be around. We'll go to a different security company by then. It's probably going to be all futuristic. With, like, laser security and shit, right? It's like, no, I need to get in there and get that clearance shit from Shyzabox. Oh, shit, lasers. Right? It's a deterrent. You can't steal our $13,000 shirt. We'd have to make another one. Jeez. And believe you me, that's custom art. That's like, you know, one of a kind. Well, that's beside the point. Why the hell are you still here? The show's over. I told you there's no more show. The show's done. And the next show's on GTA 6. Start studying. Go get an early copy of it. You can probably pay for that now. It's one of the iterations or versions of games they release nowadays. You can get early access for like $13,000. So what gives you early access to this show? Only by early access, we mean you can join at the same time anyone else can, but if you pay 13 grand, shit, you can wear a shirt like that, right? And then no one will see you in it. We won't even see you in it, and we'll be like, there's got to be one's a fan out there, right? You know, the rich ones, the ones that we're trying to appeal to. Now, don't get us wrong. We want anyone else to hang out, but, you know, there's one thing we really love. It's trying to peddle wares to rich people. They love vintage and stuff. And believe you me, we're as old and crusty and as vintage as it gets. But, like we said, next episode's on GTA 6. Go get your pre-orders in now so that you can get your early access and probably start playing it before we even do the next show. So, We see that you've been standing there for a minute and you're beginning to leave a lot of footprints and mushing down our grass. So, we don't want your subscription. We want your money. Downvote the shit out of this and give us $1. Get off our lawn.